to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. In a call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. Irish. Yeah. Ooh, that's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. Camp is almost here. There's some weird stuff going on, you guys. There's a weird vibe. I don't know what it is. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm not sure exactly why it is. There is a weird vibe in Notre Dame land. There is a weird vibe in the content niche with the media, with everybody doing the stuff I do. Everybody's wound tighter than usual. There's always a tightness when you're doing Notre Dame stuff. I'm telling you, there's a different feel this cycle. And I have some theories about maybe why. But I really, really feel it. And I think the best thing we could possibly do is get into camp. We need to turn the page. We need to get into August. We need to get into camp. I need to see guys. I need to see guys running around hitting people. Something needs to change. There's a weird vibe. Like there's a different feeling than the usual. Oh, we're all getting ready for the season and we're excited and kind of nervous about how we're going to be or how it's going to go. There's a different feel. And I feel it. I feel it. And it's probably healthy. I think everybody's reading the room, their own room, the bigger room. It's probably healthy, but I'm just telling you, there's a different vibe around Notre Dame land. And BVG should be the coach. The only weird vibe I get is Kelly trying to grind on recruits. Oh, my God. Dr. John, what do you mean? Come on, don't do that to me. Everything looks like it's fine from my end on the phone. Don't do this to me, man. Tell me you're messing with me. Come on. Everything looks like it's fine on the phones from my end. I can try and reboot it if I need to. Come on, you're killing me already. 3 minutes in. Give me a break. 3 minutes in. You got to be kidding me. Now it's bugging me. Let's see right away if I can get Dr. John or not, and then I'll know whether I need to redo the phone. Everything looks like it's fine on the phone from my end. I can try and reboot it if I need. Something's wrong with the phones from my end. Here we go. Great start to the day at 9:03. Right when I say everything's weird and everybody has a weird vibe, there I go. The phone lines are broken at 9:03. Here we go. Great start to the year. Welcome to Notre Dame Football 24. Son of a buck. Can we do that on a bingo sheet? Anyways, so I'm going to have to redo the calls. And I swear to God, I'm going to tell you guys a trend. I've found this. Here's a trend. You got to tell me how this makes sense. Whenever we have bad weather, like I wake up and it's storming outside, the phone lines have an issue. And I don't understand it. Is this 1912? I don't understand it, but every time there's like lightning or we have like a weather, anytime the weather's really like bad, we get it. We end up with a weird phone thing. I don't understand. Let me see. Where is this? Well, I don't have the camera freezes yet. Let's see here. Phone issues. Bingo it up. All right, let's try and call back and I'll try and log into the phone lines. We're going to do this and we'll see. Zoom calls would definitely get me banned. See, that's the other thing, you guys. I need to have some level of control. And that's why I'm hesitant. Dr. John, let me call in and reboot my system. When I got to reboot my brain too with all this Notre Dame stuff. It's man, nothing's easy around here. Just telling you. Nothing's easy around here. So let me try and call back in and we'll see what we can do. We'll see. Dr. John, I'm going to drop you because I'm not even logged into the mainframe system. So let's do that. Jeremy says, let's complain about the recruiting class after the class is signed. Jeremy, you need to understand that's just not how it's going to go in college football. It's just not how it's going to go in college. In college, that's just not how it's ever going to go, man. It's just not. And especially with Notre Dame, like you just can't expect, you're not going to get some normal reasoned, John has control issues. I just want the things I'm using to work. I don't think I'm not asking for $1 million in the morning. I'm asking for a service I pay for to work effectively when I need it. If that's asking too much, I mean, was the standard in America gone down that much? That I'm the problem when I pay for something and I expect it to work? And I'm the one with the problem? Anyways, you're never going to get that. Forget it. College football fans are among the most emotional of any fan base situation you're ever going to get. Here's the other problem is you're in summer and there's no games. There's nothing else to distract your mind or whatever. All you really have is riding the wave of recruiting. You don't have anything else. You don't have anything else. That's just the way it is. That's why I'm saying the very best thing that could happen is I need to see guys running around and hitting each other and sweating. I want to see in tight pants hitting each other. Hitting each other. Now you're saying I'm frozen. It ain't from my end. I can see that I'm not frozen on my end. That might be a you problem, Dr. John. The phone thing might be me, but I'm showing full internet, no wavelength issues over here. So that's the deal, man. You're going to have this stress. But it's different this year. It's very different. I know. Get it together, John. I'm a mess. $20 holler from Adam, and then I will try and call into the system again. $20 holler from Adam. Now that it's officially the dog days, enough with the recruiting, and let's talk about the 24 team season. This should be a good group of guys. Here's the problem. Here's what I'm struggling with. Most of the summer, you guys were telling me it isn't even summer. Most of the summer, you were telling me, yeah, I want sweaty dudes. I want you out there running around in that August heat, sweating, getting ready for A&M. That's exactly what I want. And I'll say it again. And I don't even feel weird about it. That's what I want. Dudes, not guys. And I want them sweaty, and I want them hitting each other. Not sweaty Mike. That's totally different. That's totally different. The sweaty Mike thing. That's totally different. That's just as what. Johnny's phone lines are about as consistent as the wide receiver recruiting. Oh my God, Philly Special. I love you. Can't wait to see you Friday. By the way, everybody, I'm going to be in Notre Dame Friday. Anybody around that wants to hang out Friday night, hit me up. I'm going to be in town. And so we could do something Friday night. That goes for Adam. Anybody that's in the area, if you want to chill Friday night, let's do it. Get a couple of pictures of adult beverages, perhaps. Chew on a pizza or something. Let's hit the town. Let's hang out. I'm going to be around. Yeah, I'm telling you. Sweaty Mike was a little worked up. I'm telling you, the old niche. Everybody's out of sorts. I'm not myself building into this season. I'm not. I feel the anxiety. Just every different outlet, they're wound a little tight. Seriously, across the board in this Notre Dame niche, all the ones that I follow, they're a little tight. Some of it may be, honestly, this recruiting thing is like, I just think people are really frustrated, and it's like, let's get into some football to get our minds off that negativity. So I'm glad we're kind of rolling into that, and we need some football now, and let's get into that. And at least have some hope there, and like not just be all focused on this. John, let us know if Chad's back from his 3-month cruise after his raise. It's just tough thread, man. It's are we overdoing it? I don't know. $5 olive from the format, Bruce. Let's go, John. Always annoyed. Phone issues. Yeah, I know. Hit the bingo card. But I appreciate that. And yeah, we need to get into, we just need to get into football. So, okay, here's the deal. All right. Our routine is going to be messed up. And I don't just mean with the phones. Okay. Our routine is going to be messed up. Let me go over this. Tomorrow night, going to be in Notre Dame. Friday night, going to be in Notre Dame. Plan to come home Saturday. Hope to go live Saturday night to be able to hit like one more Saturday night before we get into camp. So I'm thinking Saturday night, but it isn't going to be a Friday morning show. I'm going to be on campus doing things. I got people to see, things to do. Okay. I'm wheeling and dealing, people. I'm wheeling and dealing. I don't want you to think Johnny's out on vacation sipping a margarita or something. No. I'm doing Notre Dame business. And you'll find out about it soon enough. So I'm going to be there Friday night. Come back. I'm thinking Saturday night, we are going to go live. I plan to be back. I think that's what we're going to do. Sunday is Sunday. And then Monday, I'm going to be back at Notre Dame. We're not going live Monday morning either. I'm going to be back at Notre Dame for more official business. Again, you'll know more about that soon. I'll be back at Notre Dame Monday for official business. And for the rest of next week, we might do night shows, getting back into camp. I got a lot going on. There's a lot changing. And I can't go over all of it right now, but there's a lot that's going to change with this show and what we're doing and how we're doing and whatever. So I got to get that all set up. But the rest of this week and then into next week, it's going to be a little different routine. So we may actually do night shows because I got stuff I need to do in the mornings that got to be tied up. And it's just, we got to get through a little transition period and get some things figured out. So I think we're going to maybe do some night shows, and maybe that lines up good for people when we're getting into camp. So maybe that works out great because more people be interested. We'll do night shows. So I'm just asking you, understand my routine, and the schedule you're used to is going to be a little messed up. And I will let you guys know. I'll write in the community thing what we're going to do different and everything like that. But I need to get some things situated here, and I'm going to be at Notre Dame a bunch of days, whatever. All right. Let me try and call back on the phone line and log back in. We'll see how this goes. And listen, Andrew's saying that he's noticing other people are wound tight as well. I'm telling you, there's a different vibe. And after I get the phone set up, then I'll get into what I think is happening and what everybody is feeling. Working at the funeral parlor during the days, podcast at night. That was my old life. It was a graveyard. You guys, you want to know my perfect Notre Dame life? The first handful of years I did this, I literally worked at a graveyard. My corporate office was in the middle of a graveyard. And then everybody would leave, and John would sit there at a graveyard, with In the cold, winter nights where it gets dark at like 3:30, I'm sitting in a graveyard and I'm yelling about Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. You want to know the perfect description of my Notre Dame existence and Notre Dame life? Picture me sitting in a graveyard, pounding on the counter, yelling about Notre Dame at my desk. That's how this show started. If you're wondering how it got here, that was my start. Yelling in a graveyard about Brian. If ever there was an appropriate description in Notre Dame in the last 30 years, that was it. Unbelievable. And when I first started doing that, I did it at night because I had to make sure all my coworkers were gone and everything so I could yell and bang on the desk. And the first few times I did it at night, and I'm telling you, man, I'm sitting there on my desk and I started hearing noises. And I'm sitting at a graveyard in the dark and I'm hearing noises. And I'm hearing footprints. And I'm hearing little scrapes. And I'm hearing weird noises. And I'm sitting there going, you got to be kidding me. What? Am I getting haunted or what? Bro. So I'm like, no, you're dreaming, whatever. I keep yelling about Kelly. I'm yelling about football, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I keep hearing these noises. I'm like the Wicked Witch in the beginning of The Wizard of Oz where they're like, somebody will drop out on you and she's doing this, looking up at the sky. I'm hearing noises. You know what it was? There was a family of raccoons in the attic. There was a family of raccoons in the attic at this office in the middle of where this was, and they're nocturnal, so they're coming out at night. So I thought I was being haunted. I got this raccoon up there in the attic moving around when it gets dark. I'm yelling about Brian Kelly. Do you see how this all took a dark turn on me? And here we are. Dracula hates Ed D. Dracula might love Notre Dame. Anyways. All right, let's get mad. Be patient. Entertain yourselves while I try and call this stupid phone line. Oh, what is going on? Oh, we got problems today, folks. Whatever happened to your pet snake, John? Is that a euphemism for something? Oh my God. Let's try this again.
Thank you for calling Call-In Studios host and call show or meeting number and press pound.
Oh, please do this and enter pound. Please refund my money.
Enter your 6-digit PIN number. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Call-In Studio web interface.
It's saying I'm in. It's saying I'm in. That snake crawled into your wall. Don't be messing with me with no snake. Always annoyed at the phone lines. It's on the list. All right, Dr. John, anybody else, try and call back so we could see what's going on. Anybody, Dr. John, anybody else? What's your 6-digit PIN number? Yeah, whatever. All right, so Dr. John or anybody else, try and call back. Maybe I fixed it. Sometimes I think the wire I put in there doesn't connect fully, and then it throws it off. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bro, I'm bad with passcodes. If you could crack my code, you can own my life because I have the same code for everything in my life. I don't have time to remember 90 different 90 different codes. All right, let me cover this. Here's what I think's going on. What I think's going on is this is a different feel around Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame football this year. And 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, yeah. Here's what I think it's from. What I think it's from is this ain't year one. We're just excited to have something new and a new face and a new energy around Notre Dame. And we're going for the ride and we're all getting to know each other. And we understand that the roster isn't ideal, but Freeman inherited it from, some of it from Kelly. And we want to see him get in there and make his own moves and change things or whatever. But we're going with the flow because it's year one and everything's new. And then you have year two, it becomes a lot more Freemans, and we're getting into that, and we're seeing how that goes. And there was some highs and some lows and some whatever. And yeah, Nick, I could see you. I'll bring you up, and we'll see if we're good to go. I'll see if we're good to go. We'll try it in a second. Hang with me, Nick. Thank you. I'll get to you soon. You might be at work and I don't want you to get in trouble. And I just think you're in year 3 and people are really feeling the heat on Marcus Freeman, and so am I. This isn't like year 1, get to know you, everything's new and we're going with the flow. And then year 2, you had some losses you could not afford to have, and you had them and you lost them bad ways, and everybody, that leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I really do feel like John is absolutely freaking right. Marcus has arrived at the crossroads. I think that may be the best way to put this. People are expecting this to look and feel a lot different, and you need some real results. And you need some real results. And the fact that you have a big time week 1 is in everybody's mind right away. And I just feel like that's why everybody's worked up. Now you add in the recruiting negativity, and you add in everybody doing what I do, and the chats are negative and your emails are negative, and a lot of people are upset. And I just think you end up with a lot of anxiety and agitation, and everybody's ready to see what comes next. I think everybody's ready to see what comes next. I think that's a pun since it's Indiana. Marcus is literally at the crossroads of America. Well, all crossroads of America end in South Bend. At least that's where my heart and soul ends. And so let's see. This is very well stated. And then Nick, I'll pull you up. We'll see what's up. I'm positive that I am a horribly negative fan. Freeman's acting is cringe. Oh, man. I have a thought on that, too. The vibe explained. Year 3 of a first-time head coach. Very easy schedule with dangerous opener on the road. Very talented roster. Best coordinated combo since. And there's high expectations because of that, right? Anders saying Freeman's acting is cringe with the new release for the, for the alternates or whatever. There's going to be a Patreon on that coming out, I think, tomorrow with me and Goolsby going over our reaction to that. I'm not here. I'm just not here for it, you guys. I'm not feeling it. I'm not in the mood to be, I'm not. And I'm taking some heat on Twitter because I responded when they put out like the whatever, we're doing the release of this with the movie scene thing and whatever. And then I wrote, I'm really not feeling this. You need to land recruits and win your big games. And I'm not feeling it. Like year 1, things are different. I like seeing that they're having fun with this stuff, blah, 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 blah. Freeman's got that personality. I love all the acting and all the cool promo it, whatever. I like it. I'm not in the mood. You guys, I'm just not in the mood. This is like, I'm like preparing for battle is where my mind, I'm not in the mood to be laughing about Notre Dame. I'm not in the mood for like the cutesy. I'm not. And you could say to me, John, you're no fun. Why are you being a stick in the mud? Like, go with the flow. If you really wanted to nail me on this, what you would say is, John, you're the Freeman guy. So you should like the outgoing, wanting to do different stuff and the acting and the more appealing to the masses that you want, whatever. I'm just telling you, I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. I'm just not. I'm not here to he and haw and laugh myself through August. This is a wartime mentality. Look at what you have coming week 1. I'm sick of the laughing. I'm sick of the games. I'm sick of all the cutesy stuff. Land recruits win big games. Land recruits win big games. I'm just about at my level with all the fun and the heeing and the hawing. I'm sorry. And I'm open to you guys saying, John, aren't you the one that liked that Marcus Freeman is more approachable and that we're having more fun and we're doing stuff Kelly didn't do to appeal to more people and being more modern and all this kind of stuff? And you could even say, is some of that for recruiting? Does it help with recruiting or whatever? Listen, that's all fair and I'm open to all that. I am just telling you, I'm not here for it this year. For whatever reason, I'm not here for it. I'm not. And And so you could call me a bad guy. I'm not fun. You could say I'm turning on Freeman, whatever. No, I'm just being real serious. I'm just being real serious. Bro, calm down. This is for us all and the kids. What do you mean this is for us all? What is for us all is recruiting a bunch of good wide receivers and winning your big games. You remaking a movie isn't for us all. And if it is, I don't care. That doesn't do me anything. What do you mean? This is for us all. What do I get out of watching you redo a movie? A little laugh? What do I get? Land great recruits, win your biggest games, then remake any movie you want. I realize I'm being unfair. I realize I'm being a stick in the mud. I realize I'm being hypocritical because I love Freeman and his person. I'm totally admitting all of that, you guys. I'm totally admitting all of that. I'm laying it out there for you. I totally admit it. It's good publicity, John. You know what else is good publicity? Not going 0 for 4 on your wide receiver targets. I would like to think that's better publicity. Doing a movie skit. Landing good recruits. Landing good recruits is really, really good publicity, you guys. It's the best publicity you could have. Landing good recruits. John's getting sweaty. Before you know it, they're going to call me Sweaty Mike. And the other thing is, listen, I totally understand. I'm being ridiculous. I get it. I'm totally being ridiculous. I'm losing it. I'm just telling you, this year is different. It has a totally different feel. This is real serious stuff. This year's real serious stuff. I'm not going to hold it against anybody that thinks it's cute and wants to laugh and enjoys the acting. I'm just not here for it this year. I ain't here for it this year. It's good promotion. It's good PR, whatever. So is landing great recruits. Okay? So is landing great recruits. That's the best publicity you could possibly have, is landing your good players, man. So forgive me that I would rather you get the good publicity by doing that and not remaking a movie. Marcel's trying to get me to calm down. When has that ever worked? We're not the players. We are the fans. Calm down. As far as here we go. You guys, don't talk to me like I don't understand why we're struggling to get wide receivers. I'm a little offended. I don't know why you guys are talking to me like I don't understand why we're not getting receivers. I totally understand why we're not getting receivers, but that doesn't mean that I'm okay with it. What do you mean? It's like, I don't know why it wouldn't appeal. Why would it not appeal to a top receiver to run the ball into a brick wall of 9 bodies up the middle on 1st and 2nd down, and on 3rd and 9, throw it to the tight end over the middle? I have no idea why that would not appeal to a 5-star receiver at all. I have no idea. It's a mystery to me why that offense would not appeal. I totally understand why we're in the position, but what do you want me to? It's coming off like you want me to understand why we're in the position and then what? Just be okay with it? No, I'm mad about it. What do you mean? Oh, man. Oh, boy. Won't even give Freeman a chance. What do you mean? All I do is sit here and say the overall talent is improving in this program, but you cannot have one part of this weighing everything down this severely the way the wide receivers is. Can I be crystal clear about that? Like, let me be crystal clear. The overall talent and athleticism and length and depth in the program is on the rise. When you look at the whole program and the recruiting operation, there's no doubt. All of that is on the rise. But you can't have one area so off the chart bad while everything else you're trying to do is trending. You can't have that. And that's where you're at. And it's going to bug me until it's not. It's going to bug me until it's not. Overall, yes, it is trending up. And I believe that. You're getting deeper, you're getting longer, you're getting more athletic, you're getting across the board. You are. But you cannot have one area this far off the reservation, strike out, bad, whatever. You want to talk about good publicity and whatever, redoing a movie. Well, it's bad publicity to publicly be for everything in wide receiver. Sorry. I don't get it, man. And it's like, well, John, you got to run a good offense, and then they'll want to. Yeah, I totally understand that. And what? I don't understand. Because I understand why it's a problem, I'm supposed to be okay with it? Like, is that what you're getting at? Like, as long as I understand why we're in this position, I'm supposed to sit back and be okay with it? That ain't ever going to happen. You got to recruit your way out of it. You got to win your way out of it. You got to play your way out of it. 1 for 23 in this wide receiver recruiting cycle. I heard that and read that yesterday. 1 for 23. 1 for 23. Divide that out on the success rate, 1 in 23. I bet John was mad in the new stadium because they didn't immediately renovate the bathrooms. You want to know what my complaint about that new stadium was? You needed to carve out touchdown Jesus. You needed to carve out. That's my complaint about the new stadium. You needed to cut out that upper bowl. You needed to just cut the sliver directly that lines up with touchdown Jesus so you didn't block my main man. I'm telling you, there's symbolism there. My father, Always Irish Senior, swears by it. There is a symbolism. Look at what's been won in that stadium ever since you covered up touchdown Jesus for more seats and more money. Look at the success of what's happened in that building since you did that, literally made that move to cover up touchdown Jesus to sell more tickets. Tell me how much good stuff's happened in that stadium at an elite level since you did that. That was my problem. The video board, I'm actually fine with that, and here's why. I know people expected me to be mad about the video board. I'm going to the phones. We're going to test them and see if we got them working now. Tom Chris, $20. What's up, John? Wish season would hurry and get here. Looking forward to the tailgate. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys as well. You guys are some of the nicest people I've met, and I'm really excited to see you again at the tailgate. I know people are expecting me to be mad about John, just get your own suite. You could see touchdown Jesus. Yeah. Oh, I got my wine and cheese, Adam. I'll have to dress up all spiffy. I'll have to wear that green blazer I wore to Sacco's event. Act like I belong, and I'll get myself a wine flight. Maybe I'll do that. Bring back the wood bleachers. I'm telling you, man, there really was something special about getting home and finding little splinters of wood in your jeans. Does anybody remember that? Especially with as bad a weather as we get in South Bend, there would be snow or sleet or rain on the wooden bleachers. And you would literally go home, and sometimes I'd find little slivers of wood in my jeans or whatever. Telling you, man, it was just something special about you. Bring a little piece of Notre Dame Stadium back home with you on accident, right? I do mean that. You just had a summary of your chat pop up in YouTube. I've never seen that before. TextND. They're running like some AI tests. I got an update, or my family, I think my mom got a pop-up update on YouTube saying, we're running an AI test to do these little summaries for the channels you watch. And my mom asked me, she screenshotted it and sent it to me and said, have you ever seen this? What is this? I have no idea, but they are trying to do something new. So I don't know. What I was going to say is, here's why the video board doesn't bother me. And everybody expected it to really bother me, being like the old school guy, like, I want hard-nosed football. Give me the leather helmets, right? Here's why it doesn't bother me. I can make the argument the Jumbotron actually could help the team on the field win. And I just don't think you need those extra seats. If it's, what is it, 1,000 seats, not even 500? Like, how many seats would you have to not sell to cut out from the top bowl up to just give me that original view of Touchdown Jesus? Here's why. Number one, the reviews. I don't care what anybody says. Sly Fox, I got one of those. You can see it behind me. The number 4, I got one of them wood seats, and it's got a little authenticity thing on the back. Reviews. When there's an awful call or whatever, and then they blow it up on the Jumbotron, sometimes that's enough to get things paused and everybody's yelling, and then they'll look at another play when everybody's getting mad about it. The other thing is the noise. The noise. Yeah, I got one of those bricks too. It's actually really cool. That also came with an authenticity thing. The bricks are really cool. Nice and heavy. Good feature for a brick dab. The noise. Like, some of what they play on that Jumbotron is super obnoxious. Like the music, I totally disagree with most of it. It's very, very obnoxious. But the noise does help. Keeping the energy in there helps. When you got a 7-minute NBC TV timeout, and then what they do to entertain you is, we're going to bring out, we're going to bring out the 1974 table tennis dorm league team, and they walk out there, bro, and it's like 7 minutes of an NBC timeout, and you're sitting there in a coma waiting for the game to come back. There's no vibe. There's no life in there. At least on a TV break, when you're showing the Rocket highlights and stuff, like it does increase the energy. It does increase the energy. You get to see, Adam, you get to see some of the other games or whatever. So for that reason, I don't have that much of a beef with the Jumbotron, because I can make an argument there are elements of it that actually help you win. Enliven up the environment, maybe get you a review that they weren't going to do or whatever. So I don't know. One of those games I was at, they had a DJ on the sidelines. I couldn't even believe it. They had a DJ on the sidelines, and I don't know if I agree with what he was playing, but they had a DJ on the sidelines. I'm interested to see how that Snoop Dogg bowl game goes. Snoop Dogg's hosting that bowl game, and the official drink is gin and juice. I'm telling you, to be the DJ at that event, or the guy who plays the music, every single play is a drop, an old Snoop song, this and that. Oh, God, it would be fun. It would be so fun. Oh, man, that would be great. Let me see what else. And then we'll get to the calls. I'm coming to you guys. Thank you for dealing with my phone problem. I'm over recruiting as the season finally approaches. But one last comment. Hyde brought the eat yesterday, totally validated the discussion. Going after Freeman and Chad. Yeah, I mean, I guess you got to ask, if you want to have frustrations with Brown or whatever, and you got to ask where those guys fall in the mix or whatever. Like, I do not know how much of the obligation falls on that position coach. Where does Freeman step in and jump in if they're struggling? Like, I don't know all that. John's right. Whoa, Andrew, you must be, that's a revelation here that you agree with me on this to this extent. The only thing you can do now is show some results, maybe flip a wide receiver or two like Reese did with Minchie. Well, that's the kind of the position you're in, because your original lineup you swung and missed on. Now you're going to have to take a break, reset, get into the season, show you have a more exciting offense with that's going to let the wide receivers cook a little bit. Show that you have a quarterback situation that can distribute and do a better job with that. That's all you could do. Mike Jones. You talked about the chicken and the egg scenario. Well, that's where we're at. And I've always talked about it. Everybody says if you win big games, it'll be easier to land the big recruits. But how do you win the big games? Usually you need really good players. So Notre Dame cannot be perpetually in the middle. It's been a complaint of mine forever. Everything. How do you fix recruiting, make it better? You win your biggest games. How do you win your biggest games? You have to have great players to beat the best teams in the country. You can't always be in the middle of that equation. You got to be on one end or the other to get out of this maze. You can't be in the middle. It drives me nuts. What does it take to win to get the recruits, win the big games? How do you win the big games? You got to have good players. So the only other way is what Mikey Pulse says. You turn all this around, you got to win more with less. Mikey Pulse is absolutely right. If you want to work your way out of that tricky dynamic, you got to take what you do have and get the absolute most out of them. Take what you have and get the absolute most out of them. So that goes for everybody. Get the most out of them. So all these wide receivers, whatever, prop them up, run plays that highlight them, make it easier for them to cook, whatever you need to do. I don't know, but you got to get more out of him than what it looks like you have. And then you're off to the races. J Card, new Marcus Freeman hype video dropping today. I'm sorry. I'm just not in the mood, man. I'm not in the mood for hype video when you just went 0 for 4 at wide receiver and you're in a awful spot at one of the most important positions in the modern age of football. I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood to hee-haw and laugh it up and let's do a comedy skit. Sorry. Johnny boy ain't in the mood. Not in the mood. I'm not. You could say I'm being a jerk. I'll accept that. Wouldn't be the first time. I am just not in the mood for the hee-haw cutesy stuff right now. I ain't in the mood. Not in the mood. Commander, here's the problem with this. Mark, there's going to be 10 to 15 teams that routinely out-recruit Notre Dame, with Freeman leading the charge. The future playoffs will not have ND a part of them with this recruiting. Well, here's the problem with that. You're going to lose about, 14 or 15 million a year if you miss that playoff with the way it's paid out. Not being in a conference, the only way Notre Dame gets that share is to be in it. That's the other thing. It isn't just going to hurt our feelings if we're not in the playoff from now on. It is going to financially cripple Notre Dame. If you go a couple years without being in it, that's $30 million you're not getting of resources. Everybody else is getting a cut of by being in the conference. You can't afford it. You literally can't afford to miss the playoff. Not at like an emotional, psychological fan level. You literally financially cannot afford to miss the playoff if you're Notre Dame. You need that money. You need that money. And that's the deal we wanted and agreed to, being independent. You need to make it to get your cut. We literally can't afford to miss that playoff. You need that revenue. You need that revenue. But if you're talking about 10 to 15 teams that are going to routinely out-recruit, man, how many of them would it have been 30 or 40 if Kelly was still here doing it the way he was? Oh, John, look what he's doing at LSU. What do you mean? It's like the difference between living on Mars and living on Earth. Those are not the same thing. So spare me that comment. They're not the same thing. It's literally living on two different planets, how you recruit there. Let's see if we could get Dr. John. I hope we do, because I'm not in the mood for another phone issue. Do I have you, Dr. John?
Hey, compadre, what's the weather like there in the city of Big Shoulder?
I got you. I'm just glad I got you. It stormed earlier, and I don't know if that messed up the phone lines or not. I feel like I'm like on the Titanic putting wires in the wall to connect my communications or something. I don't understand, Dr. John. Anyways, I'm glad to hear from you. I got to tell you, I feel like everybody in this niche is wound a little tight, Dr. John. There's a different flavor of anxiety entering year 3 of Marcus Freeman than we're used to. Do you feel that? I genuinely do.
Well, I got my ire in a different direction. It has to do with recruiting, but let me ask you this question. Does anybody know why Meadows picked LSU over Notre Dame?
From what I gather, the most I could gather from speaking and looking into it with multiple people that have more access to recruiting specifics than I have, I understand NIL was not a huge problem. Okay? I understand Notre Dame was willing to match or be really close and be able to pony up any kind of deal that he was asking. Multiple people have told me that is not the main issue. I've had multiple people tell me, and again, I can't verify this, Doc. Multiple people have told me it was one of those situations where a lot of people were in the kids' ear saying they do not have a history of highlighting guys like you and it's dangerous to go there when they don't have that track record. Why don't you go somewhere where they have a more proven ability to highlight wide receivers with your skill set and run exciting offenses? That is what I've understood it to be. And there was a lot of people telling them, you don't want to go to Notre Dame. What are you going to do? There's no guarantee they're going to highlight a wide receiver like that and run an exciting offense. I don't.
Okay. And my point is, ultimately, we don't know why the kid made the decision, do we?
Yeah. I don't know that for sure.
Yeah. And that's what bugs me is we're blaming Freeman and his staff for blowing it, and we have no idea really what the heck the reason was. I mean, I talked about I mentioned the elephant in the room, and with this NIL situation, which I think Notre Dame is in the mix.
Yes.
I don't think we're better or worse off than anybody else in that respect. But one of the things that I keep wondering about is the only requirement the NCAA makes for these players is to be on target for a degree. What kind of degree programs LSU offers for football players? I don't know.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, you're in the mix with everybody else. Freshman year, you're taking what everybody else takes. If a kid has $500,000 or $1 million coming through NIL, why not go to a school who's just going to give him a degree on how to manage his frickin' money?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And
I'm just wondering if the academics are a problem.
my understanding is that it isn't, but I think you're in a position where it's hard to get a lot of these guys. You know how they say, Freeman says, choose hard. When you're talking to these recruits, choose hard is kind of a line in the Freeman era, is what they've been told. Choose hard. And it's very hard to get the top level recruits to choose a harder path through school when they do not feel like they're even going to be there long enough to graduate anyways, because those top players think they're going to be 3 and done and go to the NFL or whatever. It's hard to get the top end guys to want to choose a harder path when they're looking at the NIL or the NFL rather, and not sitting there for 4 or 5 years and getting their little accounting degree. They're looking for 3 years of balling out and going to the league. It's hard to get a lot of those guys to choose hard. And I understand that. They're like, why am I going to do more work instead of less work if I'm trying to go to the NFL anyways? So I don't know.
I don't know either, John. And because I don't know, I don't think anybody else really knows why somebody decides to go someplace else.
I agree.
And it was just frustrating for me to hear everybody blaming this coach, that coach, whatever. So,
Doc,
when we really don't know why the kid made the decision.
Here's what I've been trying to say, and I've said this multiple times. I am a little uncomfortable with the generalities here. Some people are like, oh, it's NIL and Notre Dame whiffs on all these guys because they're not competitive, whatever. Or like, is it the academics? Or is it all, we don't have the evidence of putting great wide receivers in the league in a pipeline with an offense that you've seen be exciting or whatever. It's dangerous to lump all of them in the same bucket because we don't know the details of each of these interactions with the family, with their coach, with their entourage, all the decisions that need to be made, how their grades are, what their willingness to do. We don't know that. And that I do feel very uncomfortable making generalities about where, like, here's why we didn't get all of them. Right? Like, because we're not there. I don't know those negotiations. I don't know what made them shy away from Notre Dame. And every player and every player's circumstance is a little different. So I really don't, I'm with you. I don't know those details. And you can't paint it with a broad brush because they're all individual situations. They just all happen to be in the same position group. I don't know the answer to that, but
Yeah.
everybody's just frustrated.
Oh, sure. And everybody's going to have an opinion.
We need to get into camp,
because we're
Doc.
Homo sapiens.
We need to get into camp.
Yeah.
Like, this is all everybody has.
When does camp start?
I believe Wednesday is the first day.
When does it start?
I think next Wednesday's
What day?
I think next Wednesday is the first, either the first presser or the first practice or both. I think it's next Wednesday. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, great. Okay, well, here's what I hope happens.
We need it, Dr. John.
I hope camp opens up, and these wide receivers, the ones we've had for a couple of years, and the new guys, the freshmen, I hope they just shine, so we can just shut up about the wide receiver room, feel good about where we are. You know, let CJ or Minchie hit these guys like crazy, and go on and kick butt in that first game. You notice I left Leonard out of that scenario.
Yeah, it really, really would be.
I'm trying to jerk your chain a little bit.
Telling you, man, I'm wound tight, Doc. I'm wound tight. I feel a different sense of urgency. I feel a very different sense of urgency around this Notre Dame team this year. And I think it's healthy and I think it's justified. I just honestly, it feels a little different. And I feel it in this niche. And I feel other content creators and Notre Dame writers, I think everybody's feeling that the intensity and the anxiety, and we don't have the answers yet, but we want them and we're not going to get them. And I feel that. And it isn't just from me, because I'm always wound a little different with my personality, but I'm feeling that around this niche. Everybody's got a little more anxiety. This is getting real here with the Freeman era. And we need to going on out there. And I don't know. So I'm excited to get into camp. I want to see our guys running around with some energy and getting ready to go down to A&M. This is going to be a big year.
Well, let's face it. You were wound tight from birth. I'd love to see the Polaroid from the delivery room. I bet that umbilical cord was all around you.
Like it's
all right.
I know I'm wound tight, but like I do feel it, Dr. John. Like we gotta. This is a big year for Marcus. We got to get this going.
Oh yeah, I am so happy that camp's going to start. We can start getting some reports out of camp and deal with something that's real. So anyway, have a great show. You're not on Friday, right?
I am going to be on campus Friday, so we will not be live Friday. My plan is to drive back to Illinois Saturday during the day and hopefully be able to do a night show Saturday as we head into camp. If I'm late getting back, maybe I won't be able to, but my plan is to hope to be back for a Saturday night show. No Friday morning show, but shooting for Saturday night.
Well, I'm glad there's no Friday show because I got a tea time, so.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Get out there and stroke it, my friend.
Yeah, well, I did have a good round last week. I shot my age again, so. And don't say 103 again. Okay?
I was gonna say you shot a 67.
It's only funny once.
Oh, you shot a 67. That's pretty good, Dr. John. Under par. Good job, man.
Okay, that's better.
There you go.
All right. Go take a real call, and I'll listen in.
Oh, you're always a real
call.
I'll take care of myself. I love you too. You take care. I can't wait to see him and the family see you and the family at the tailgate. Look at this. By the way, Nikki Dean, if you want to be heard and seen, you could give me a call back if you want. I know you were probably at work and maybe just doing that to help me test the line. But if you did want to call a call again, feel free. Did he shoot that on the back nine? Here we go. Ohio State guy. $2 holler. Dr. John's an original OG, man. That dude, he's just got some swag about him, man. He's an old style G. Ask anybody that met him at the tailgates. He's an old school gangster, man. I love the way that dude moves through life. He moves through life, man. Old school Notre Dame guy. Notre Dame swag, like Frank swag. I'm talking like era type swag. You know what I mean? What if Freeman goes 0 for 3 on transfer receivers and they are all duds? You want to know what my answer to that is? I want to get to this Ohio State $2 holler. Let me say something about this. I see a lot of people leaning on the transfer guys and the portal guys. And it's like, well, if you're struggling with landing a bunch of your main targets and developing them yourself, then you go to the portal and you do it that way and it's fine or whatever. And I see a lot of people saying that's like doable or an okay sidestep if you have these frustrations in the regular freshman recruiting. But what you need to realize is those are 1-year temporary Band-Aids, not long-term solutions. Those are 1-year Band-Aids. It's not sustainable. You can't rely on that. You don't know what you're going to get. You can't build on that. Most of them are 1-year things. So there's no like development over long-term, or you can rely and know you're going to have that guy in the mix for multiple cycles to build around and with and whatever. You don't have any of that. Here's the main problem, though. The main problem is we don't do the undergrad transfer guys. So ask yourself, what sort of grad transfer receivers are available in the market? The answer is the ones that have not proven they're good enough to go to the NFL. Right? Think about it. Think about that. Notre Dame's not getting into like the undergrad part of this usually. So then you're getting guys that have not proven enough to go to the NFL, and they have 1 more year and they want to go to Notre Dame and try and prove it to increase their NFL stock. Those are guys that are not good enough to go to the NFL. You want to stack your stuff with that? Okay, it's risky. I'm just saying don't lean on it. It's better than not having any Band-Aid solution at all, but it is not an ultimate solution at all. So I don't know. FSU Coleman, well, it's FSU Coleman, not Notre Dame Coleman. So if you do have one of those guys, you need to get them. So I don't know. What does Freeman want a receiver? Big physical types, small speedy types, route runners? Give me a little bit of everything. Give me a little sprinkle of this. Give me a little sprinkle of that. Did Leonard graduate? I'm just telling you. Look at those wide receivers. They're all not in the league for a reason. They're all not in the league for a reason, Patrick. You playing golf today, buddy? My thoughts on will Notre Dame join the Big Ten? There's a part of me that thinks it's a when, not an if. There's a big part of me, the further we get down this road of mini NFL feel and less like college feel in the money and everything, I honestly, there's a part of me that's like, when, not if. And when you look at it, so many things fit. So many things fit, meaning the academic fit, the historical and geographic fit. No, I mean, I guess you have LA in the Big Ten market now, but you know what I mean? Like geographically, that Midwest, Northern profile. A lot of those teams we have a awesome, exciting history with that you could rejuvenate. The money would line up. It would relieve some of Notre Dame's financial pressures to like have to make the playoff to make the money you need to live and exist in the modern era and all that. It would alleviate that. Playoff access. You wouldn't have the Notre Dame's independent. You got to do it a different way rule. You wouldn't have that. So it would make all the sense in the world. And so a part of me just wonders if it's a matter of when, not if. What I don't have any question of is like, oh man, if Notre Dame had to join a conference, where would it be? Would it be anywhere else? No, it would be the Big Ten. There's no other decision to be made. Like, no, there is no other decision to be made. Notre Dame's not. I don't know what's going to happen with the ACC. Like, are they just like dying a slow death? So I don't know. That's out. They're not going to the SEC. That's not going to happen. They're not going to do the Big 12. No, it would be the Big 10. It makes sense in for every practical reason you can name in your entire brain. It makes sense for Notre Dame to go in the Big 10. It's a waste of time for people to talk about anything else. Yes, I have seen Notre Dame people, not Notre Dame. I've seen people write and talk about the Big 12. It ain't happening. I just don't think it's going to happen. They got that AAU accreditation thing that you need to join the Big 10. What's Andrew saying here? Not if the Big 12 sells to private equity and pays ND $120 million per year. I did see that. Man, what's the deal with that? How does that work? How does that work? Doesn't that make anybody else feel nervous about like the private equity thing? I start thinking of like greasy businessmen. Like, I just start thinking of like greasy businessmen behind the scene, this private equity thing, and like some pyramid scheme of how we get this money in this bucket or whatever. And it feels like a thing where you would join it and the money's there for like 2 years. And then after that, it dries up and you're like, oops, you're screwed. Like, I don't know. I just have a little anxiety with that. I just have a little anxiety with, the Saudi money. We're going to do the live tour for Notre Dame. Notre Dame live. There you go, with the Saudi money. And you would have all those Saudi dudes in those white outfits, like in front of the dome, like writing a big check. Like, I don't know. And what are those teams going to look like in the Big 12? Like, I've been reading. Where's Clemson going? Where's Florida State going? Are they anybody else joining the Big 10? Or are they all going to have to go to the Big 12? Like, I don't know where I don't know where you go from there. Like, I don't know. It's the Live Tour featuring Notre Dame. So I don't know, man. But it's always, that Saudi oil money runs deep, man. Just ask the golfers. There's a lot of money there. We're not going anywhere in the playoffs. Well, there's a bright side. Thanks for looking at it at the bright side there. But I would need to know the guarantees of how long you could promise that $120 million per year to make Notre Dame the crown jewel of the Big 12. If you assured me $120 million a year and it could actually live a bunch of years, I mean, I guess you have to entertain that. It just seems very far-fetched. I don't know where you're getting that kind of dough. I just don't know where you're getting the dough. The leprechaun comes in riding in a camel. I don't know where you get that money, man. John, is 2024 week 1 bigger than 2023 week 1? Well, yeah, because you're not playing Navy. Like, is that a lazy answer? You're not playing Navy. You're playing a team with real SEC talent. Week 1's always a big deal because it's week 1 and you want to win and see what your team has and you waited all summer for it. 773, I'm coming to you. And you're waiting to see, but you're not playing Navy. You're not playing Navy. Why would ND be the crown jewel? Because there would be no other team in the Big 12 that has the profile worldwide Notre Dame has, Luke. You know the answer to that question. You're a Notre Dame fan. You're a Notre Dame fan. You know why. There would be no other brand in the Big 12 that has Notre Dame's profile. So I'm just saying you can't compare Clemson, Commander Luke. I know you are not trying to tell me Clemson as the national appeal of Notre Dame. I know you're not doing that. You're not trying to sell me that Clemson as the national footprint Notre Dame has. You're not doing that. You don't mean that. You don't mean that. I know you don't mean that. You're just like frustrated with where Notre Dame's at. You don't mean that. Clemson does not have the national profile that Notre Dame has. They just don't. Boy, tough sledding, man. People are stressed out. We need football. 773, what's going on?
Hey, John, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, nothing. We're inching to camp. I need to see some guys run around and hit each other, man.
Yeah, football will be here in a minute. Here, I won't take up too much time. I got three things I can answer for you. First, with the Big Ten deal. My brother played with a guy who's an athletic director now in the Big Ten. They think that Notre Dame will be in the Big Ten. It just makes sense with traveling. It's cheaper. You know, it's a lot easier to bring the girls volleyball team to Purdue in Indiana than it is the Big 12. What they're waiting for, or not waiting for, or when it's going to happen is when the Big Ten contract runs out in 2030. Notre Dame's contract runs out in 2029. So it's about the same time, and you're dealing with the same network. By that time, Notre Dame will have a look at how the playoffs are working, how the money's working. They'll have a clear picture of, okay, this is how it works. Now we're ready to make a decision. So it's going to be for a while. It's not going to be till this first contract runs out.
Yeah.
Notre Dame wants to see what they're going to do with the playoffs. If they get in there and get the fifth seed, why hurry? Why run into the Big Ten right away?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. The beginning of this new playoff format, it is the grand experiment for everyone involved to feel out their situation and where their footing's going to be in this new dynamic. And there's just no data yet. So nobody has any data set on what this is going to look like and who's going to succeed, or what if it's going to look differently than we're all envisioning it. There's just no data yet. So we got to see what that's going to look like. And we'll go from there. People are saying the new uniforms dropped. I don't know what they look like. I'll do a short on it when I get done with this. We'll look at them and then we'll see what we think of them, Mark. But yeah, and they got the AAU accreditation, and you could revamp all of those old rivalries. Like the schedule would be awesome with Notre Dame in the Big Ten, and you add USC in, and it's like, what else could you ask for a scheduling standpoint, to be honest?
Yeah, it's obvious. The hockey team's already there. I think the reason why there's two reasons Notre Dame's going to just chill out and watch. One, because they can. The Big Ten's going to take them. Whenever they call, the Notre Dame's in that afternoon. Everything's done.
Yeah.
But they're going to wait and see. I think they don't want to leave the ACC high and dry. Like, they know if they leave the ACC, that's not helping the commissioner. The ACC gave Notre Dame a chance to play some games in the and they don't want to feel like they're the ones like, well, we're leaving. Like, well, there you go. You're the part of the reason why the conference collapsed.
What is going to happen with the ACC? What is going to happen? I was reading first thing this morning. There were articles about what Florida State and Clemson are trying to leverage and what the options are for those other teams. Like, do you have any insight? I don't know. What is the future of the ACC? I don't know, but it doesn't look good, apparently.
Yeah, that's funny you said that, because I don't know who called in and said, well, what about Clemson? Clemson's just as strong as Notre Dame. And that's ridiculous. I mean, right now, Notre Dame, now this I'm hearing through my brother, who talks to an athletic director at one of the schools. It's Florida State and Clemson. Here's the issue they have. One, they have to get out of the conference, the grant of rights and all that other stuff. So they have a fight. They have to beat that in court. And that could take forever. Who knows? It could take 2 years. So that's one problem. The second, Notre Dame, the Big Ten is just not going to take Clemson and Florida State just because they're Clemson. The Notre Dame's pickier than what people think. People think like, well, they're good football programs. The Big Ten will take them. No, they took Rutgers. The reason they took Rutgers was because of the AAU stuff, the medical research stuff. I mean, if it was just about how good your football team is, they would have never took Rutgers in Maryland.
Yeah.
So what people down south have to understand is Florida State and Clemson, they're not AAU. And they don't have as many sports as a lot of, like the Big Ten has like 26 or 28 sports.
Yeah.
I think Florida State has 18 non-revenue sports. You know what I mean? They have a lot of work to do as far as the courtroom, their AAU stuff. The Big Ten's just not going to say, okay, come with us. And you don't match up with the other schools. As a matter of fact, the Big Ten's pissed at Nebraska for dropping their AAU. That's why the president left the school and went to Ohio State, and the athletic director left the school and went to Texas A&M because the Big Ten's giving them a hard time. Like, if you don't straighten this out and get your AAU back, you're going to end up in the Big 12. All right, well, the other thing was with Dr. John. He's funny, trying to figure out a recruit. Yeah, you can't. That's why I gave you that story about my brother who picked a school, and then his girlfriend got the letter to another school. He changed his mind.
Yeah.
And
you never know, man. You never know these details. You know, with a 17, 18-year-old, it's just hard to generalize. You don't know.
Yeah, you're not, John. You're not going to figure out. I mean, I look at. He's my brother, and I couldn't figure out what he was doing. I had to sit down with him and go, "What are you thinking, dude?" And he's my brother. So can you imagine a kid across the country that you have to start a relationship with? You have to get to know him. And you're going into different cultures, too. If you're a recruiter and you're going down to Texas, it's a little different down there. Or you're going to Alabama to recruit a kid, it's a little different down there. So you have to adjust to, like, what the culture is down there. And that's not easy if you're not from that culture. It's strike one compared to the Alabama recruiter who can go to Georgia and everybody, yeah, we know those guys. Those guys, yeah, he's with my cousin knows it. Yeah, that's tough to break. Another thing with recruiting is we have to have a great relationship with high school coaches. If you can get the high school coaches, and I'm talking about the big high schools that produce like Las Vegas, if you can get them to say, hey, I think Notre Dame's the place you should go. If you can get those coaches to get on your side, that's gonna help you a ton as far as getting these kids. But if the high school kid doesn't help you, or the coach doesn't help you, it's a lot tougher if that high school coach is pushing another school.
Yeah, it's man. There's a lot. I'm just really hesitant to make vague generalizations. And I just see a lot of that. Oh, it's all NIL, or it's all because Notre Dame makes kids go to school, or it's all, they don't like the offense we've had. You just don't know. But when you have you just don't know. And there's so many of these recruiting stories. You wouldn't believe what impacts their decisions that you find out about later. It could be the littlest, tiniest little thing you would never think of. And like, you just never know. But that's the way people are. You overreact. And in the day of like the modern age with social media and everything, it amplifies everything.
Yeah, and that's the thing with these guys. It's so much harder to recruit today than it was back when me and my brothers played it. It was so simple back then. You didn't have online. You didn't have to text them. You didn't have to do all that crap. But one more thing with the receivers, I'll let you go. The problem with going to the portal for the receivers every year is that's the one position, the quarterback and the receivers, that timing is the most important part of the relationship with them. You hope that the quarterback and the receivers come in together in the same class, and they're working, and then they go through spring ball together, and they get that timing down because the receivers break, and the ball's already in the air. If the quarterback feels comfortable with the receiver, he puts the ball in the air before the receiver's even looking back at it.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to the portal and getting different guys every year, and then you're getting your quarterback out of the portal.
Yep.
Well, like right now, what do you think the timing is between the receivers and the quarterback at Notre Dame right now?
Yeah. And you know what else too? It certainly doesn't help when they weren't able to work together all spring either. Like, you're behind the eight ball when you start next week because Riley Leonard wasn't able to build that chemistry. I agree with you there totally. And I don't think anybody could deny you don't have that chemistry and the reliability and the growth together, knowing how guys move and where the ball comes out and how it's going to be. You don't have that. Again, the portal is a Band-Aid or a cherry on top. It can't be your main thing. It's one or the other. It can't be your main thing. It's either the cherry on top bonus if you're in a good spot, or a temporary Band-Aid, but it can't be your main meat and potatoes.
Yeah, real quick with the receivers again. The reason I don't like the portal, the portal is great if you need a defensive end, because the talent travels with the defensive end. You can jump on a defense at another school as a defensive end, and the first day you're with that defense. Because it's quickness, it's speed, it's your technique. But with receivers and quarterbacks, you need timing. A receiver goes out and he has three options where he can take his pass route. on the passing tree. The quarterback and the receiver have to read it exactly the same, knowing which route he's going to pick. If dude at Notre Dame, the quarterback at Notre Dame, hasn't even thrown a pass to these guys, let alone sat down and figured out the passing tree and when you're going to break and go to this one, go left, break right, break left, or just take it down the sideline. They haven't even turned any of that stuff up yet.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like the portal for receivers. But that's it, John. I got to roll. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem, man. Have a good rest of the day. And then let me know your thoughts when we get into camp and we start hearing some of the early returns. Let me know what you think.
All right, buddy. Later.
Yep. I just pulled up on the other screen. Whatever, man. Whatever. I don't know. I just saw enough to, I don't know what. I'm just not here for any of it. I'm not in the mood for any of it. I just want it to be about football and not dancing and not acting. I just want it to be about football, okay? I'm done with the dancing. I'm done with the acting. I'm done with the goofy uniforms I'm done with it all. And I just want really good football and good recruiting. And okay, man, I'm a little worn out with all of the cutesy stuff and this. I just don't want to feel like we're getting more into that and away from the point of this, which is elite recruiting and win your big games, okay? If you recruit elitely and you win your big games, then you could do whatever you want and I'll support it and I'll be right there with you. As corny and cheesy as it is, I don't care. If you're landing elite recruits across the board in all areas and you're winning your big games, you could dress up and do any skit, anything you want to do, man. Anything you want to do. So are we supposed to stop marketing and building up the brand because John has his feelings hurt? I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm just telling you what I think and feel, man. I don't run anything. Nobody cares what I think. Clearly, no one cares what I think. I'm personally just worn out on all that. Building it. Zach, you know what's a good way to build up the brand? Land roots and win your biggest games. You want to build up the brand. How about you try that? Seriously, Zach, we're supposed to stop building up the brand. The best way to build up a brand isn't a little remake of a movie video. It's to land elite recruits and win your big games, man. That builds your brand a lot quicker than a cute video on Twitter, bro. Get your priorities right. Get your priorities right. So that would be my response to that. Seriously, Zach, think about what you just wrote in. We're supposed to stop building up the brand because John doesn't like. No. The best way to build up the brand is land elite recruits and win your biggest games, not the other stuff, not the fun and games. The fun and games can go along with that other stuff, but it can't go in place of it. Okay? That's the best way to build up the brand. It isn't cute Twitter videos. It's land elite players and win your big games. $5 holler. Netflix Stallions documentary. I really do have a problem. Stop mistreating John. It's fine, man. It's fine. It's fine. Everybody can live the way they want to live, and everybody can live the way they want to live. And you can think about this the way you want to think about it. But when you're going to tell me, so we're not supposed to build the brand. The best way to build the brand is elite winning and elite recruiting, okay? And then number 150 way to build the brand is a cute Twitter video. So I'm just asking that you get your priorities right. On the list of how do you build a great college football brand, number 1 and 2 are elite recruiting, win your big games. Number 487 is a cute Twitter video. So I'm just asking, get in the real world here. Focus on what matters the most. If you're going to do those other things, let's have all the fun in the world, man. Let's remake Billy Madison or something next. I don't care. But I'm not letting it distract me from the main part of this. Here's the problem with the Stallions thing. Are you going to give that clown a bunch of airtime to be able to poison everybody's mind with his lies he wants to tell you about how all this happened? He's getting money. He's a bigger profile, whatever. And all he's going to do is he's a Michigan man. So all he's going to do is BS everyone and cover everything. That's what I don't like it. Zach says, John, I'm sorry. I meant no disrespect. I've just been tired of the negativity lately. Me too, Zach. I'm telling you, man, it's nothing personal against you. You don't have to apologize to me. I'm just wound a little tight. I want Notre Dame to be further down the road than they are. You don't have to apologize to me, Zach. I understand what you're saying, but I hope you understand what I'm saying, that I'm just a little worn out on the cheesy, fun, corny stuff when I'm not seeing everything else tightened up. That's just where I'm at, Zach. It's nothing against you personally, and I appreciate you being here. And I'm not trying to lash out at you. I'm just saying that's my frustration. So the Connor Stallions thing, I don't like that you're going to give this guy a platform and he's going to be able to lie and cover for Michigan, build his profile, make money off this. That's what I don't like. Oh, by the way, remember when, what was it, Central Michigan or whatever? Remember when they were going to look into who the guy with the glasses is on their sideline and get right back to you? It's been about a year. It's been about a year, and I don't see that report, bro. It's been about a year, and I haven't seen that report yet. Welcome to another Michigan episode brought to you by Notre Dame. I don't know what that means either. I'm not allowed to address this. This guy donates $5. What is your point, Lee? Welcome to another Michigan episode brought to you by Notre Dame. I don't understand. I do a 2-hour live stream. Someone donates $5 to ask me about something, and I can't take 2 minutes on my own show to answer the question. If I'm misrepresenting your chat or what you mean by it, let me know, but that's how I read it. The guy donates $5 and wants my opinion on a topic, and I can't have 1 minute on my own show to answer it? Who do you think you are? My director, producer here, or whatever? Bro, I'm starting to telling you I need football back because I'm starting to lose my patience with a lot of things. I'm just telling you, I'm starting to lose patience with a lot of things. Crying belly. Stallions and BK are always brought up when John deflects something bad Freeman did. Again, I swear, some of you go out of your way to not listen. I swear to God, some of you just, it's amazing, this whole social media world. Some of you go try to not listen to me. I've spent the whole hour and 23 minutes saying, I'm not in the mood for the silly games and the ha-ha and the hee-haw and the let's redo a comedy skit and let's do some futuristic jerseys. Ugh. And I'm saying I'm more worried about the seriousness of our situation and all that. And then now you're saying that I'm not hard. It's the hardest period I've ever been at Freeman yet is the last month, few weeks. And you're hitting me with that. I swear you try to not listen to what I say on purpose. You go out of your way to not listen to what I say. Oh, man. I need real football. I just need games. I'm getting unraveled with some of this stuff. I'm losing my summer patience. Pilney, $10 out. Winning is the best deodorant for a coach in a program. There is no substitute for winning. Everybody needs to know that. There is no substitute for winning. That is absolutely 100% correct. For your mood, for your morale, for your blood pressure, for your hairline, for recruiting, for momentum, for donations, for NIL money, for anything, for media credibility. There is no substitute for winning. It's always been that way, and it's always going to be that way. There is no substitute for winning. Pilney with the $20 hour. Ooh, money bags today. Urban Meyer was right. Consistently going to the portal for key leadership and skill positions, that's a sign of desperation and dysfunction. Listen, it's a good Band-Aid if you need it to get by, but it is not something that if you're Notre Dame, you can rely on. Too many people are not reliable of a catch-all. It's just not. Here's another one. Nick, I'm coming right to you. Insured by the Big Ten. No offense, but Notre Dame doesn't have the national appeal with recruits as the fans think it does. I think we have two different things in the mix here. I think you have the national appeal for like when you want to look at metrics, national appeal like visiting tickets sold. Whenever we go to play at a visitor stadium, it's the number 1 or 2 hot seller ticket, whatever. Georgia brought in extra seating when we played down there. They don't do that for SEC games. We go down there, they had to bring in extra bleacher seating because Notre Dame came. That's what I'm talking about. So when you talk about this national appeal, visiting TV numbers, visiting ticket sales, all those sort of metrics, different cities with Notre Dame fans, all those different metrics say Notre Dame's a monster. That is not the same thing as what the recruits think, though. Big Ten, totally with you on that. That's a totally separate calculation. And you were right. You were right about that. That is a totally separate calculation. And I do struggle to get Notre Dame fans sometimes to understand. It's like we all love Notre Dame. We would go to Notre Dame. I'd crawl through glass to go to Notre Dame and play football there. Who wouldn't want to go to Notre Dame? Blah, 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 blah. Not all these kids grow up in families like mine where Notre Dame is everything and that Irish Catholic thing is your whole identity and it's all that matters and your whole life's built around it and your whole family's life's built around that Irish Catholic Notre Dame identity is my whole family's being. We got to realize everybody doesn't grow up like that, man. And if you don't give them, it doesn't mean Big Ten. Oh. That's awesome. Look. By the way, the big in my name does not mean the Big Ten. It's short for the name of my insurance agency. Isn't that the Big Ten's new logo since they're not the 10 anymore? Isn't it BIG? Oh my God, that's funny. I thought this was some Big Ten fan being like saying Notre Dame isn't cool or whatever. That's hilarious. Oh my God, that's funny. And a good little promo. Maybe you could get a bunch of people on Google to type in the BIG or whatever and find you and get some insurance. That's hilarious. I need to get some insurance for my hairline before the season starts, bro. Oh, Nikki Dean loves to be heard and seen. What's going on, brother?
You know, John, I called earlier just to help you test the phone lines.
Thank you.
See what was going on with them.
Thank you.
I'm getting worried about you, though, bruh.
I'm wound tight. I'm wound a little tight.
Too wound up.
I'm wound very tight, and I admit that.
So I think we ought to take a deep breath in, hold it for 3 seconds, and then take a deep breath out. Okay? Ready?
Try it.
1, 2, 3.
There we go.
1, 2, 3. Oh, Johnny.
Dude,
you gotta calm down, bud.
Nick, Goolsby's been telling me that too. He's like, John, when I talk to you on the phone or we do a Patreon or whatever, he's like, I could just see it in you. You're wound real tight. You're wound real tight. It's true, man. I just feel like this is a big situation and it all starts next week. A week from now, it all starts. And I do feel the pressure and it's a different feeling. Year 3, Marcus Freeman, the new playoff, all this expectations, whatever, man. I'm feeling it. I admit it. I'm feeling the pressure.
Yeah, you had Goolsby pounding his mic on the desk the other day, man.
I know.
Mic on mic violence.
I know.
There, right?
I like that. It's just, man, I'm just feeling it. I really am feeling it. I'm feeling the stress, and I need answers, and we just need. This is a big, big year for this program and for Marcus personally, and I need answers. And the summer is just nothing but questions and what if this and what if that and maybe this and maybe that. And I'm ready to get the answers, damn it.
Yeah, we all are. We all are. But you know what? So are the Ohio State fans. So are the Shittigan fans. So are the USC fans. But we just got to be patient another, 10 days, and we'll actually have some news.
Yeah, man. I just need the answers. And you know what Goolsby says, and he's probably right. He thinks a part of my increased anxiety is that I want Freeman to succeed so much and like his personality so much that I have an extra attachment to his success or failure than I would any other coach or a guy like Kelly that I don't personally care for on an interpersonal basis. And I think there's truth to that. I can't deny that either. So I think Mike's right on that.
Yeah, I can see that. And, Goolsby, he tries to act like the tough guy and everything, but he's got a little bit of empath in him where he can feel other people's feelings and
he's
kind of bases.
He's good at
stuff
that.
Off that.
He's kind of good at. He has like an intuition for some of that stuff, and I think some of that is probably why he was the leader that he was, is because he has a way to kind of feel through some of that stuff and know where people are at and how to hit them a certain way. But I do admit I am wound tight and I am feeling some of that pressure. I also have some other things going on with content and stuff I'm trying to do that isn't quite over the finish line wrapped up, but I want to get there to be able to give you guys more stuff. And I have a little anxiety about wrapping that up and getting that all going. And that's a part of what I'm doing, going to Notre Dame in the next few days and then early next week. So there's a lot of Notre Dame stuff on my mind that I need to get lined up that has to get all sorted out here.
One last thing I want to ask you about. The whole Singer thing. He's been doing this for 8-10 years? Shouldn't he have a little tougher skin than what he had over that whole issue?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
That's just my thing, my opinion.
I don't know. And I genuinely, Nick, I really didn't. When I put that tweet out, I was really not thinking of Mike Singer in my brain. There's a lot of other people that I have problems with in this niche that do this stuff. Like, I was not even really picturing him. So it really wasn't about him, but he took it that way. And Chief saying Singer's just stressed lately. Okay, so that's why I'm trying to say I don't think it's just me. I feel a lot of this pressure from this niche. I think everybody's feeling some of what I'm going through. And he took it a certain way, but I will say this. I'm glad that he at least called. If he had that concern or that problem, and he at least called. But I swear I really didn't have that he was not in my mind when I made that tweet. I was frustrated. I put it out as a general tweet addressing whoever the next Notre Dame outlet is that's going to sell me a 600,000 ranked kid is going to be the next 5-star Notre Dame and we should love them, that I'm not buying it because I've been burned by that a million times and I'm not buying it. It applies to whoever the next group is that tries to sell me that. That could be anybody who wants to take the spot.
Yeah, I understood that. I didn't understand why he got so offended.
I don't know.
That's just my opinion. So
I don't know. But
I know he gets upset when people say things about him. So I'm not trying to say anything bad about him.
To the call, I wasn't like, oh no, how's this going to go? Is this going to be confrontational? When I answered the call, I was in a good mood, joking with them. Oh, like, Singer, awesome. Like, what's up, bro? Like, I had no idea it was going to turn confrontational at all. I was literally like in a great mood. I thought we were just going to BS and joke about it. I didn't know it was going to get serious. I had no idea.
Yeah. And that new uniform, I pulled it up on Google when I was in my office. Yeah, that new uniform, it's kind of bland.
Well, whatever. whatever. Just go win your games. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Just go win your game, man. Do all the movie remakes and do everything you want and go. Did Singer call in, BBG? Look at the last video I put out, and it was a snippet of me and Singer's call, and there was a little back and forth there that got a little intense. It's the last video I posted. I cut it out from the live stream Monday and put it out as a video. Go look. It's the last one up. So anyways, Nick, I think we're all wound a little tight and we need to get into football. We just need football back and things will level out and we'll be busy and we'll have actual answers and things to digest. We're all in our own heads. We're all in our own minds and we need football back. That's it.
There's only one thing that we need back more than football. Can you think of it?
What's that?
It's something related to football, but we need Ben Morrison back more than we need football back.
Ooh, I thought you were going to say respect.
You could say Ben-
respect around the country. That's what we need back.
Okay. You got me on that one. But I just wanted to call and say, John, calm down.
Mark with glasses says Hawk Tua. We need Hawk Tua back.
Oh, God. That's Mark for you.
That's Mark for you. I can always rely on Mark. To put me in a good mood. Yeah, that's definitely what everybody needs back. Everybody be in a lot better mood. Oh, man, I love it. Oh, that's so great. Nick, I love you, man. You and your wife, you're always worried about my mental sanity, and I love you guys for that. You guys are fantastic people. Thank you.
Hey, don't forget, you got to do yoga tonight, okay? Calm down a little bit, do some yoga.
I will, I'll try and do that, man. I'll put on my tights, and I'll go into the park and show off so everybody could see that I'm doing these exercises. It rubs me the wrong way. Nick, thanks for touching base, man. I'll be okay.
Hey. Have a good night and good luck with all you're doing, John.
Thanks a lot, man. Have a good one. Take care now. Oh, boy. Oh, Andrew, am I losing my mind or like, what's the deal? I feel like I'm in the Andrew, I feel like I'm in the twilight zone of Notre Dame land. There's just a lot of weird vibes right now. And it just feels a little different, buddy. You know, it feels different to me in this niche. It isn't just me. The whole niche feels a little different, dude.
Yeah, I really just wanted to call in to, and you don't need this, but to just voice my support for your tweet that Mike kind of took personally. I thought Mike was sort of joking when he said at me, and I saw on Twitter, when he wrote that, and so I would just say it was totally not directed at him, and he's got to realize that there are literally 4 outlets that put out recruiting news, and I thought your statement was general. Yeah, I think he's complimented Mike Singer a million times. So yeah, I just felt that it's important to say, and I also think you stood your ground when you're on the call with him, because it's fine to, and I've even called in a couple times and said the sky's not falling. This still is a really decent class. This class would be decent if it was just Deuce in the class, because you just like that type of quarterback could be like a transformational quarterback, but don't try to steer me away to say, hey, look how good our offensive line recruiting is. Look how good our tight end recruiting is, when, for the last, 3-4 years, it's been wide receiver recruiting. That's, been a real issue. It's both getting good wide receivers, keeping good wide receivers, and developing wide receivers. They're not doing it. And so it's totally fair to point that out, and they don't blow sunshine, if you strike out, and especially like the month that they had. It really was more of a 6-week stretch where they went 0 for 4 for sure, but people also just seem to forget that guy Sean Terry, who is sort of an interesting, he's not your conventional wide receiver, but he was interesting, like a player that Notre Dame doesn't always get, so sort of this gadget type wide receiver with some speed. He flips, and he doesn't even flip to like a super major program. Like, I know Missouri's on the rise, but there's no way Missouri should be flipping Notre Dame guys. And I don't want to hear Cope about, oh, well, he was just in it for the money. Well, why isn't Notre Dame putting some money on the table? So I just think that you've been totally right on. But I think the good news is there are 2 tracks right now. One track is, recruiting hasn't gone very well over the last 6 weeks. But the good track is the season's about to start, and this is a very veteran-laden team that could absolutely make the playoffs. So I just think that I think we all need to compartmentalize what's going on. Is recruiting not going the way we want? Absolutely not. But this team, there's a lot to be excited about with this team. I do actually think their wide receiver room is a heck of a lot better than it's been the last 3 years. So I just think there's some compartmentalization that needs to be going on with ND fans.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I don't know, man. It just feels different. It just feels a little. I just feel like everybody's a little wound tight that's doing this. All the different shows have had little dust ups or little. They're short, or that there's. It's just really, really interesting. And the best thing that can happen is get out there and run around, man. Let's get into ball and start talking about actual football, and let that kind of take over the discussion, and see where that puts us. But again, man, I was not trying to go at Singer. I didn't expect that call to be contentious at all. I was in a jokey mood taking the call. I thought it was just, we were just going to talk about, he was going to calm us down about recruiting. Like, I had none of that. That all took me by surprise. I did not expect it at all. I had no idea it was going to go that way. Not even an inclination.
Well, as somebody who's posted on that board, it can get kind of ugly. So who knows? You know, like, Singer's been dealing with that for 5-6 years. So I'm sure he probably gets a little pissy about criticism, because those guys on that board can be brutal.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's playing a factor there too. But hey, the one thing I wanted to also call in is I usually disagree with Goolsby on a lot of stuff, but if there's one thing I totally agree with him on, and I think you guys are probably putting out some Patreon videos on this, is they've got to play Cam Williams this year. I think like the other day when I was traveling, I just was on YouTube, and I came across a video of Will Fuller's highlight reel. It was about a 6-minute highlight reel at Notre Dame, and it's like it was pretty cool to watch, but then somewhat depressing, because it's like they have not had an athlete anywhere as close to as good as Will Fuller in a lot of years now. And you recruit a 5-star wide receiver who's, by all accounts, you know, he maybe doesn't know the plays, and maybe his wide receiver route running isn't like, you know, crisp or whatever. But you put him in the game. Like, I mean, Will Fuller would literally just run down the field and he'd run right by corners and he'd be wide open for touchdowns. It's like, we have not seen that in a while. And if they could somehow get that, like if Chris Mitchell can be that guy or Cam Williams can be that guy, how much better would Notre Dame be this year? It's like, it's a huge element missing, because otherwise, if you don't have that guy, you got to go 10 yards per every time. And I think that just puts so much pressure on your offense to do the sustained 80-yard drives. That happened against Ohio State, where our offense was rolling in the second half last year, but we didn't have anybody who could really stretch the field. And so Sam Hartman actually led 2 really good touchdown drives, but if you recall, it ate the entire second half clock up. So it's like, we need guys who can stretch the field. Put that guy in the game. Like, and last point is, I'm just reminded of the Tennessee-Alabama game 2 years ago, the classic game. And I remember reading that Tennessee realized that Alabama could not cover Jalen Hyatt. And so they literally just told Jalen Hyatt, go run post routes the entire game. And what that guy do? He caught 5 touchdown passes. So this is not rocket science. If you have a player that's a better athlete than the defense, put him in the game. So,
yeah, it's and I know Mike said that on multiple platforms, is if you feel like you don't know where you're at wide receiver, you have an obligation to put the most athletic guys out there, regardless of experience or whatever else you're comfortable with or not. Put the guys that have the most athletic gifts out there and see what they could do if you're in that position. But I don't know how that's going to look. Like, do you expect Cam Williams to be in that mix early? I don't know if anybody does.
Well, I mean, listen, get as much as you can out of the guy, because he's not going to be a 5-year player.
Yeah.
Number one.
That's a good point.
And number two, I'm not going to try to sit here and say Deion Sanders is some good coach. But if there's one thing that he did do well at Colorado is he did not hesitate to put talent on the field. And if you remember that first week where they beat TCU, who turned out to be a pretty mediocre team, but it was those young, really good athletes that won that game. So it's like, you do not like figure out how to get something out of them. Like I thought if there was one thing that really annoyed me about the Tommy Rees years is like all you would ever read about is how the wide receivers had to like we're struggling to learn the offense and all the checkdowns and stuff like that. And it's just like, you know what? Why do you have so many checks? Like sometimes sometimes you're so talented that I can tell you, hey, I'm going to run to the outside here and you're not going to do anything about it because we got so many beasts up front and we got such great athletes. So it's like this idea that you got to be deceiving the defense on every single play is ridiculous. Sometimes talent just beats talent. And so let these guys go out there and stop getting in their head so much.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's just ridiculous, you know?
Nope. I've been saying that for a while. Like, why don't the young wide receivers play? It's like, well, they don't understand every single thing we need them to do and all these complicated whatever. And
who cares?
but you don't ask them to do everything when they're that young. You find the things they can do to help the team while they develop. Like, I've been saying forever, can't your fastest guy just try and get behind the defense a couple times to loosen up we can't even try that? Like, I don't know. Maybe, hey, Denbrock's not a coward. Denbrock is not afraid. Maybe he will be a little bit more bold with everything on that side of the ball and not play so close to the vest and scared. And maybe we'll start to see some more of this.
And then, hey, just one last point before I let you go is I really think it's ridiculous cope when I see Notre Dame fans say that, like, almost like, you know, we don't need to go to the portal. We're going to build exclusively through getting high school talent. And, you know, and like quoting Urban Meyer, like, which is so funny because they rip Urban Meyer anytime they can. But if they can cherry pick an Urban Meyer quote that suits their needs, they'll do it. Like, you can't get leadership out of the portal. Well, let's talk about the portal for a minute. Florida State had their best year in 11 years, did a total turnaround of the program. And who led that team? Who were all the leaders on that team?
Yeah.
They were all transfers. And you saw what happened when the so-called transfers who weren't leaders didn't show up for the bowl game. They lost by 60 points. So don't tell me that transfers can't be leaders. Look at Ole Miss. In my entire lifetime, Ole Miss has never been a national contender. This year they probably have, it's probably the first year in like probably 50 years where Ole Miss has legitimate, you know, national championship aspirations. Are they a top 4 team? Probably not, but they're a top 8 team. Their entire team is built through the transfer portal. You know, I'll go through it. I mean, there's really 2 guinea pigs that Notre Dame can look at that say, you know, one team, you know, 2 teams that don't do the portal. One is Michigan. They do very little in the portal. And one is Clemson. Clemson's gone downhill. They've gone downhill. Maybe they right the ship this year, but they've gone downhill. Michigan cheated, number 1, and number 2 had an all-time great coach. So I don't think they're really a good model to follow. So I think the best thing that Marcus Freeman can do is keep working on the admin, because this idea that transfers, you know, can't help your team. Like, the only reason why Ohio State and Georgia can win championships without going to the portal is because they recruit ridiculously high level. And I'm sorry, I just don't think Notre Dame can ever get to that level.
Yeah.
We better be embracing the portal.
It's just not, I just don't like feeling like people are like, oh, it's all okay if you whip a wide receiver because of the portal. Like, it's still not ideal to me.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't want to get used to leaning. I just don't want to lean on it. I don't want to get used to leaning on it. I like it as a cherry on top, finding one more guy to add in there that you love, or these little one-year Band-Aids to get to a more stable place. I just don't like the middle ground.
Dude, you know, Notre Dame could easily solve their wide receiver crisis by going to the portal. But the problem is the only portal guys that their administration lets you get are either guys from Northwestern, Vanderbilt, Stanford, or a grad transfer.
Yeah.
And guess what? Northwestern, Vanderbilt, and Stanford don't put out the greatest wide receivers. And if you're a grad transfer wide receiver, you are probably not a dynamic player.
Yeah.
So that's their problem. And look at what happened last year. Yeah, they did get Bo Collins and Chris Mitchell this year, which, you know, they haven't done a damn thing yet. So I'm not going to sit here and say that we've solved our wide receiver crisis. But look at last year. They tried to get dudes in the portal last year. That guy Cephas from I think Toledo or Kent State or one of those places. They tried to get dudes. They ended up with a broken down wide receiver from Virginia Tech, you know, and that guy didn't even make the team. So you can't live in the portal if you only get grad transfers.
Yeah. Man. All right, Ander. Thanks for touching base, buddy. And thanks for being over on Patreon as well.
I think cheer up when we turn the page on recruiting, because this year they've got a chance. They've got a chance this year, and if Freeman and Denbrock and Golden can earn their money and coach these guys up, there's no reason why this should not be a playoff team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think so everybody needs to compartmentalize what's going on. Like, don't try to tell me that recruiting's going great. At the same time, don't be haters on this 2014. This could be a really good.
That is a really, really interesting like division there to separate your immediate frustrations about the last 3 weeks in the recruiting trail while understanding you're about to enter a year where we feel like the team's really, really could be really good. That is a weird place to be in your mind, and to have both of those things balanced around in your brain and your emotions. I admit, very tough.
Yeah, it could be like an 05-06 kind of Notre Dame. It's like, you know what, those teams were loaded, but maybe the aftermath is not as good as we thought. So enjoy this year. That's what I'd say. Let's all enjoy this year.
Oh, man. You're right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
All right, man.
Have a good one. See ya. Oh, boy. Josh, my girlfriend asked me for John's email. I'm pretty sure it's scrolling on the screen unless I'm crazy. It's always been there. I think it's like the people that were always that dude, every once in a while somebody would be like, I don't understand. What's the number? How do I call in? Where do I get the number for this show? What do you mean? It's on the screen. What do you I don't understand what number I call in for this show. What do you mean? Look on the screen where it says if you want to call the show, here's the number. Mark is always Irish on Twitter. Yeah, I don't know, man. Oh, boy. Somebody's saying we have the grill and chill that Notre Dame, the recruiting grill and chill at the local Dairy Queen. And there were 2 recruits that were scheduled to visit and they both canceled. Is it really at the Dairy Queen? When I hear grill and chill, I literally picture a Dairy Queen thing where they give you like the chicken strip meal and you get a small blizzard on the way out, bro. Oh, man. This Notre Dame thing's going to make me lose my mind. All right, you guys, that's going to be it. Again, thanks for calling, the patience with the phone lines. Thanks for calling. A lot of donations today. Really appreciate that. Thank you for everybody that's here, whatever, all of it. I love you all. Reminder, Friday, I will be in Notre Dame. No morning show. Hoping to be back Saturday early enough that I could do a night show. If I don't, I don't. It means I didn't get back in time for what I need to do, but that's going to be maybe the plan. Monday, going to be back on campus for something else. And then we may have to do night shows the rest of that week for a bunch of different reasons. Then we'll be back on a new schedule with some new details for you guys and some new information about this show. Sit on that, and I'll talk to you guys. Thank you very much.